And here we are at video 3 of 3. We did the first video a couple of days ago with the Nike Air Jordan 13 Lucky Greens. And then yesterday it was the Nike Air Jordan 1 Low Lucky Greens. Maybe the video for sure, but we're not sure if that drop is coming or not. When I made the video, it wasn't really that well known a shoe. October the 1st, the projected drop date, but we just don't know if it's going to happen or not. Definitely hit me up in the comments down below if you know something about that shoe. And then today is the Nike Air Jordan 1 High Women's Lucky Green. 3 Lucky Green sneakers, one after the other, and I put them together into a sort of pack because I just couldn't resist looking at each one of these shoes. Now the first of those, the 13s, drop sometime this week. I'm not entirely sure if they'll drop by the time I put this video up on YouTube or not, but definitely that's the first one that's coming pretty soon, late September. And like I said, the lows coming on the 1st of October, we think, but the one that's for absolutely sure that's definitely coming is this one right here, and we know that that's coming on October the 15th. It's already in the books, it's already up there on things like the sneakers app in Tokyo, Japan, and things like that, which is where I am, incidentally. And so I'm finish off a sort of 3-pack, a 3-peat, whatever you want to call this, 3 Lucky Green Jordan sneakers, one after the others. And today it's the last one. It's the end of the show. It's the end of the line for these 3 sneakers, this 3-pack. So without further ado, let's get into this and take a close-up look at the upcoming release of the Nike Air Jordan 1 High Women's Lucky Green. This is the Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channel. Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channel です。毎日アップするので、毎日見てください. Every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And today we're looking a little bit far into the future, about 3 weeks in the future to October the 15th. Well, it depends when you're watching this video. When I'm making this video, it's about 3 weeks in the future, which is a little far. I'm not a huge fan of dropping videos that far in advance. I usually like to do it 1 or 2 weeks ahead of the drop date, not 3. But because of these 3 sneakers clogging themselves together, I just couldn't resist putting the 3 together in a video. And then here we are, the 3rd of those 3 videos, the upcoming release of the Nike Air Jordan 1 High Women's Lucky Green. So, and the thing about this shoe is it's deceptively complicated. A lot of people out there will be looking at this and thinking, you know what, that's a fairly simple black, white and green Air Jordan 1 High. The women's part of it means we're going to have a restricted size run, but that's you know, the only real significant feature on it. You'd be wrong if you're thinking that, because I count at least 4 significant features, maybe even 5, that kind of are unique to this shoe. So it's more than just a sort of tricolour green, white and black shoe. It's more than a standard Air Jordan 1 High. It's got a lot more going on in it, and I want to go through each one of those features, give you my opinion on whether they work or not, and then give you my overall view of this shoe and where I think it sits in the upcoming releases that we've got coming down the line. So without further ado, let's get into that and look at some of the details on this shoe. There's so many of them, I don't know where to start, but I think I'll start with the materials, because there's actually 3 different materials at play on this shoe. You've got some really soft leathers, you've got some tumbled leathers, and you've got some patent leathers. And the best way to do that is to zoom in on the midfoot and have a look at all 3 of those at once. So hopefully somehow on the green screen behind me here, and actually that makes me think, I wonder how a green shoe on the green screen is going to work out. I assume it'll be fine, but you know, let's see. Maybe all of this is looking really weird and I'm like all green screened out and just a head talking to you guys, but I'm sure it's working out. And I'm zoomed in on the mid section of the shoe, the midfoot of the shoe, where you see that black swoosh, the white midfoot, and then the green sort of panels that wrap around it. And hopefully what you're able to see on there is that the white part of the shoe, I'm pretty sure, is a soft and very gentle leather, but not quite tumbled. But the green parts of the shoe really sort of pop that tumbled leather effect. Either way, whether or not they're both tumbled or is soft leather and tumbled leather side by side, it's got the same effect, the same soft quality sort of premium effect to the leathers there. But what doesn't have that is the swoosh. It's very difficult to find the right angle to look at this, because you need that reflection. You need a bit of light to bounce off of the swoosh for you to realize that it isn't a soft leather, it's actually patent leather. But hopefully, like I said, on the green screen behind me here, you can see those 3 colours all wrapped in there together and see the 3 different materials that come from that. So that's point number 1, is the different materials that have gone into making this shoe. It's not just a simple sort of all matte leathers. There's that patent leather swoosh on the side which gives it a bit of a pop. Now it's not too far to go away from there to look at the quarter line, which is one of the first places where you get a hint about something going on. And what you're hopefully able to see is that green quarter line that wraps up onto the lacing system there. And hopefully what you're noticing, I don't know if it'll be that obvious, but hopefully what you're noticing is that the leather seems not to be properly finished. And by that I mean not the leather on the top, but actually the line around the edge of the leather isn't quite finished in the way you'd expect leather on a Jordan 1 to be finished. And you're like, that's kind of interesting. But then we're going to go up and have a look at the tongue and see that actually that effect isn't just on the quarter line. It's repeated all over the shoe, and it's actually one of the dominant features of the shoe is the unfinished parts on the leather and the tongues and places like that. So hopefully up high, somehow looking at the top line, looking at the lacing system, looking at the top of the tongues and stuff like that, all of that together is giving you a sort of idea of what I'm talking about, is this unfinished feel to the leathers and to the materials. I kind of like it. It's one of my things that I like to see in shoes. I don't really like it when it's overdone. For example, the off-white, how they tend to leave a tongue unfinished, and it's quite a big sort of flary effect. That's not really my style, but leaving the edges, just that leading edge, if you like, of the leather unfinished, I think is pretty cool. So it's a nice touch in the second unique element of this shoe. But very close to that is the third unique element of this shoe, and I'm going to tell you straight up, I don't like it. And what I'm talking about is the Air Jordan 1 mid what we call now white metallic gold. Now this is a bit of a ridiculous shoe. I'm not going to wear a gold shoe anytime soon, but it does actually everything that I want a shoe to do. 3 different colors, gold, black and white, and nothing else. Everything on the shoe is just very simple and in its place. But then if we look back to today's shoe, that high lucky green, for some reason they decide to throw in red there, and I kind of get frustrated with that. This is a green, white and black shoe, so make the tongue branding on it green, white or black, or a combination of those 3 things. Chucking in a little bit of extra red to me is a bit frustrating, and then on top of that, the fact that they've outlined it in white on a black background, it's really like, oh, as far as design goes, not at all my thing. I do not like extra redundant sort of colours in there. I don't like the outline of the branding. If this had just been straight up green on a white tongue, for example, I think it would have been fire. But adding red in there and the white outline is just a bit of a for me. And then we come down from that, and not too far away is the 4th feature. So we've had 3 so far: materials, unfinished leathers, and then that branding up on the tongue. But the 4th feature is the wings logo on the side. And if you already know that I don't really like the red on the tongue, you'll know that I don't really like the red on the wings logo. Again, I would have preferred this to be in, say, black, or just like embossed in there, green on green or something like that. I just don't see the necessity to put red in there. Now that's just my opinion, and if you have a difference of opinion, feel free to shoot me up with a comment down below. I like it when people share differences of opinions with me, as long as they respect other people's opinions. It's not about like I've got the right opinion, you're wrong. We can have differences of opinion and still be friends. So let's share those differences of opinion, or share that you have the same opinion as me. Yeah, that red wings logo on the side, the colour of it, I'm not a huge fan of. And then I found this picture here, and hopefully you've got a good look at it, that gives you an idea that it's also finished in an odd way. It's almost like it's been embossed on there and then finished off with like a plastic or a rubber translucent coat to give it an extra bit of shine and an extra bit of finish. And it's just sort of like, I don't know, it just doesn't fit with the rest of the shoe, although I suppose it does fit with the patent leather swoosh on the side, so I've got to give them that one. But for me, again, I'm not. It's not my kind of thing. And then the last thing that also isn't my kind of thing is, I talk about this in a lot of my videos when I do Jordan 1s, is that little rectangular bit on the heel that ties the 2 swooshes together. It's actually a really important design feature, and sometimes it can make or break a shoe if they get the right colour there or the wrong colour. Sometimes it contrasts with the swooshes, black swooshes and a gold little rectangle in there to hold them together. Sometimes it's exactly the same, black on black, for example. But for some reason on this one, I don't know how they've done this. I don't know why they've done this. It's just, is it the Austrian flag? 2 red bars with a white bar in the middle. So, you know, just a solid colour on there would have been fine. Black holding it together, green holding it together, white holding it together. Any of those 3 would have been fine. But then going with this almost like flag effect on the back of the shoe to hold the swooshes together, it just isn't my thing. So all in all, that's the 5 kind of features on this shoe that I think are unique. Like I said at the top of this video, it looks like a very simple looking shoe, but then when you actually dig into it, it's like, oh, I didn't realise that, I wasn't expecting that. There's a lot going on in the shoe, but the problem with me is that I don't like a lot of what's going on in the shoe, and I wish they'd been a little bit simpler with the things. The unfinished leather, I kind of like it. Multiple different leathers I do like, although I'm not a huge fan of patent leather. Then what's going on in the branding, they're the things when it's basically anything that's red on the shoe is the thing that I don't really like now that I think about it. But that's just me. That's just my perspective, and of course, like I said, maybe you have a difference of opinion, a different perspective out there, and especially women, because it's a women's shoe. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the idea of women's shoe. I do prefer just any shoe to come out in a full-size run, and it makes me feel a little uncomfortable if it's a men's shoe and then women shouldn't wear it, or if it's a women's shoe, men shouldn't wear it. You know, it's just, you know, if people like the shoe, just go ahead and buy it and wear it. Why do we need to decide if it's men's or women's, you know? So a full-size run would have been nice, you know, as far as my sort of equality side of my brain is going. But anyway, you know, I'm not going to be buying this shoe anytime soon, but it'd be great to hear from someone who might be buying it what they think of those red hits on there that I'm kind of so critical about. But that's about it for today. The end of 3 videos tying together these lucky greens, the Air Jordan 13s first, the Air Jordan 1 lows that we're not too sure about next, and then today the Air Jordan 1 high women's to finish out those 3 videos. I hope you appreciate all 3 of them, and I hope you appreciate the content. But all I can do now is finish up this video and do what I do at the end of every single video, which is remind you that I do this every single day, and that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.